This video is part of the Recreation Inspiration Open Challenge. This month's theme is Easter, and I will tell you a little bit more about it after the first project. Our first project is an egg wreath. I don't do a lot of wreaths, but when I do, they're sort of unique and different from what you find in a boutique. So I have these colored Easter eggs that I spray painted gray, and that's just to get the shine off of them. I'm going to paint them white. I have the gray wreath form, and I have these various pheasant feathers, and they're super pretty. I just love them. I also will be using some chicken wire and this egg wreath that I'm going to take apart. So to start things off, I want to mention that this was Donna from Donna's Creations and More. And this was what her egg wreath looked like without the bow, and that's it with the bow. And I'm going to put my own spin on it. She used two wreath forms. I'm going to use the wreath form with the chicken wire that I spoke about. So I have those plastic Easter eggs that I painted white, and it was a rough coat, and then I watered down some grayish paint and used a fan brush to tap some spots on the eggs. Now I don't have Spanish moss like Donna did, but I do have this raffia and lots of it. So I decided that's what I would use to fill up the wreath and create a bed, or a nest I should say, for the eggs. Now it's going to look like a hot mess here for a while. I'm just playing around with like how many eggs I'm going to be using and what kind of pattern and how much raffia should there be. And so I cut out a lot of this figuring out stuff. I figured on a pattern where the little small eggs divided up the big eggs, and I tried to stick to like a green, white, blue, green, white, blue. And then when I was happy with the pattern, I grabbed my pheasant feathers and I just randomly poked them into the raffia and in between the eggs. Now I have my ceiling fan on, so a lot of the small feathers kept blowing all over the place. So you'll see towards the end I'm poking some more feathers in. And like I'm constantly trimming the raffia because it was just crazy all over the place. Now I cut out 2 lengths of chicken wire, just sort of for like a random measurement. I did 2 because I thought it would be easier to mold the shape if I worked with 2 separate pieces. So basically what I did is sort of molded it into a half circle and then pressed it down over the wreath and folded the outside part under, so it was like hugging onto the wreath. And then I took this wire jute, and I'm going to use it like a pipe cleaner. I'm going to grab the chicken wire on the inside of the wreath, and then I'm going to wire it to the wreath form on the inside. And I'll do that just like at random spots here and there. And then once I twist it and trim it, I'll pull it to the back so you can't see it. And I did the same with the top piece of chicken wire, and now I'm poking more feathers in. And this was Donna's idea. I've never seen people use feathers on their wreaths before. Off camera I added a big bow, and I'll show you that in the final reveal. Jumping in with a little bit more information about the playlist. It happens every month. This month our hosts are Amanda from 6 Kids and a Glue Gun and Charlene from Crafty Art Shack, and our guest host is Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIY. This month's theme is Easter, And as far as recreating, I chose 2 projects from Brenda at Rustic and Lace DIY and 1 project from Donna at Donna's Creations and More. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the video. Our next project is Bloom and Grow. And we're using this little straw hat kind of thing and tag from Dollar Tree, as well as some Scrabble pieces from Amazon that will spell out Bloom and Grow. And there was no M left, but I had a bunch of blank ones, so I wrote the M onto the blank one, and then I went over the others to make them all look similar. So to start things off, I'm going to cut this cookie sheet. Now, this project was originally done by Brenda at Rustic and Lace DIY, and this is what hers looked like. It was basically an Easter basket of eggs. Mine's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to add flowers to mine, and then at the very end I poke in a couple of eggs. So for now, I started painting, and I chose to make a rustic look on the tag, but then the cookie tin is going to be a nice full coat. And the reason being is the cookie tin piece is what I'm putting this the straw from the hat on. Brenda just folded hers onto the background, but I had the idea to attach it to the cookie tin so I could make it more like a basket that you could put things down into it. And that's kind of how I figured it out. So you'll see me just pulling the hat apart here, and once you start, it just keeps on going. And it's actually got a little bit of stretch to it, I didn't realize. So you know, just be aware when you're pulling it across if you want to do it this way. I just gave it a little pull and then glued it down, and I glued it on the back and then pulled it across the front. And I didn't pre-measure, and in retrospect I wish I hadn't brought the lace up so high, because there's a big spot on the front that's sort of plain, so at the end I pop a bow on that, but I didn't get it on camera, but you will see it during the final reveal. So when I thought I had enough strips of straw, I folded down the top of the cookie tin, and then I glued it on the bottom. Then I put the floral foam in there and pushed it all the way to the bottom so that I could press the cookie tin around the floral foam and make it like a real basket that you can actually put stuff in, because I knew I wanted to put flowers in mine. And I just folded it around the edges and then hot glued it for extra security. And maybe I should have measured, because I probably could have made it just a little bit wider, but this does work. And of course the hot glue helps. I also pulled a length of straw, or whatever you want to call that, across the back on the top and the bottom, just for added security. Now here's where I draw the letter M, and of course I don't have a very steady hand and I didn't like how it looks, so what I did is went over the other letters with the Funsel acrylic black marker that I have. That way they all look the same. They all kind of look handmade. It shows the words bloom and grow. I had them stuck in my head. Now, I think this project would look just as nice It may be even nicer without the letters. I just chose to put them on there because I had room, and I like to put words on things. Now, I missed a little bit there where I started poking in the flowers, but this is, these were not in my stash. These were actually purchased new this season. I don't buy a lot of new things, but on occasion, I'll go and spend maybe $20 or so and get some new-ish things from Dollar Tree. But nothing like in the past where I was doing like $100 hauls. I just have totes and totes of stuff that I forget I have. So just working on, these were 2 floral picks from Dollar Tree, and just getting them in there, and you'll see the bow during the final reveal. This is a faith-based wall hanger. I'm using this pretty floral tissue that I purchased off eBay, and the wood cross came from Dollar Tree, and this cake plate came from the thrift store, 75 cents. This project came from this video, and that is Brenda's version. My version has a cross instead of the words, "He is risen," and I'm using a napkin instead of tissue paper. So Mod Podge that cake plate and let it dry. Then there was 2 plies to the napkin, so I ripped it at the corner and got them separated and then pulled them apart. Now normally you can only use, like, you have to switch it up because of the way the print is designed, but what I did is open the whole thing up and put where the folds were in the middle, because the cross is going to be on top, and I thought that would look really cool. I'm using my Hippo heat press, and that was way sped up. I actually took my time and did some good swipes of it, and then I came in with my sandpaper and sanded off the edges. I don't even use a knife or scissors. I just use a sandpaper, and it just falls away and gives you such a nice clean edge. You could also burn it off, but I didn't want the scorch marks on this one. Now, since I was sanding the edges, I do go back with the Hippo heat press and go over the edges just to make sure it didn't get pulled up. And I just do a couple swipes. Now I'm using Elmer's wood glue on the back of the cross, and I'll do that in the middle. And then on the ends, I'll use my hot glue. And that's for the right-away hold, and then the wood glue is for the permanent hold. Now, I debated a lot about what to do with the hanging hole on this cross, and I couldn't find my spackle. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a bow, just like I do with all my projects. So hopefully that doesn't bother anyone. I'm not sure. But I had this pretty satin pink ribbon that I really wanted to try, and it's the same ribbon that I used to put a bow on the previous project, and you'll see that during the final reveal. But for now, I just tied a bow, a shoelace style bow, and then I sort of fluffed it and positioned the bow like how I wanted, and I glued 2 of those pink lavender looking picks there and put the bow down, and then I decided you couldn't really see the flowers, so I trimmed 2 more and hot glued them underneath the bow. That's what it looks like. I'm using the same ribbon to make a hanging cord, and I just folded it over so it doesn't bunch up when you hang it. And I just used a little hot glue on the back there. And better luck in the final reveal.